Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? You're eating clean, you're working out, but you still just feel off? Well, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to strip away all the mystery from Ayurveda and show you that it's actually a super practical, logical system for understanding your own health. No fluff, I promise. Just answers you can actually use.
Right? You're eating all the salads, you're going to the gym, but for some reason, these annoying things like bloating or fatigue just refuse to leave. It's so frustrating. And the reason they stick around is usually because we're looking for the solution in all the wrong places.
And this right here is the key difference. The typical way is to see a symptom, say heartburn, and just throw an antacid at it. Done. But Ayurveda takes a step back and asks, okay, but why do you have heartburn to begin with? It's a total shift from just slapping a Band-Aid on a problem to actually figuring out what's causing it. Okay, so to find that root cause, we have to start with the single most important concept in all of Ayurveda. It all comes down to this one thing, the power of your digestion, or as it's called, your inner fire. I want you to picture a big, roaring campfire inside your stomach. That's your Agni. When that fire is burning bright, it takes whatever food you eat, cooks it perfectly, pulls out all the good stuff, and burns the rest to a fine ash that's easy to get rid of. But what happens when that fire is just a few sad, sputtering embers? Well, the food doesn't get digested. It just sits there. It rots. And that creates a whole mess of problems.
And this is where everything you thought you knew about health gets turned upside down. See, it's not just about what you eat. It's about your ability to digest what you eat. If your digestive fire is weak, you can take the most nutritious food on the planet and your body will turn it into toxic sludge. That's the whole game right there. So how do we know what's going on with our own unique bodies? Well, Ayurveda gives us this really elegant framework. Think of it like 3 biological codes, or doshas. And these aren't some mystical, abstract ideas. They describe real, tangible things happening in your body at this very moment.
So first up, we have Vata. Just think movement. Anything that moves in your body, your blood circulating, your nerves firing, even blinking your eyes, that's Vata at work. When it's in balance, you're creative and quick-witted. But when it's out of balance, you get too much movement. Think bloating, gas, erasing mind, classic anxiety.
Next is Pitta, which is all about transformation. This is your metabolism, your hormones, your digestive enzymes, anything that takes one substance and turns it into another. Think of it as your inner furnace. People with strong Pitta are often sharp, focused leaders. But when Pitta gets too high, you get way too much heat. We're talking acid reflux, skin rashes, and, a fiery temper.
And finally, there's Kapha. This is the principle of structure and stability. It's literally the stuff you're made of. Your muscles, your fat, the fluids that lubricate your joints. Kapha provides a calm, steady, loyal energy. But when it gets excessive, things can get, heavy and stagnant. This shows up as things like weight gain, congestion, or just feeling mentally stuck in the mud.
Okay, so that's the theory, but let's see how this framework becomes incredibly useful in the real world. We're going to apply it to the place where so many of our health complaints actually start, our gut.
This is a perfect example of why just saying I have a stomach ache isn't enough. Bloating and acid reflux might both happen in your gut, but they are completely different animals. Bloating is a Vata problem. It's excess air and dryness. Acid reflux, on the other hand, is a Pitta problem. It's excess fire and heat. They're polar opposites, which means they need opposite treatments. So if you're dealing with that fiery acid reflux, you gotta put out the fire, right? You need things that cool you down, like coconut water or aloe vera. And you absolutely have to stop throwing fuel on the fire. So you gotta lay off the spicy, acidic stuff for a while. It's all about pacifying that excess heat. But for that airy, gassy Vata bloating, trying to cool things down is literally the worst thing you can do. You need the complete opposite. You need warmth and moisture. Notice how different these remedies are. Warm water, not cool drinks. Cooked foods, not raw salads. And adding something like ghee to lubricate a system that's just become too dry and windy inside.
And what's really fascinating is that this same exact logic applies to our minds. It turns out that the state of your gut is almost perfectly mirrored in your mental and emotional state. Let's take a look. So once again, we've got 2 super common issues that come from totally opposite places. Anxiety is a high Vata state. The mind is moving way too fast, like a whirlwind. It's erratic, it's ungrounded. Lethargy, on the other hand, is a high Kapha state. The mind feels heavy, foggy, and just plain stuck, like you're trying to walk through thick mud.
So how do you calm that mental whirlwind of anxiety? You have to bring in the opposite qualities, things that are heavy, oily, and grounding. A warm oil massage is a non-negotiable because that oiliness and warmth directly soothe the nervous system. A weighted blanket literally adds that heavy, earthy quality to ground all that excess air.
But if you're feeling that heavy kapha lethargy, the last thing you want to do is an oil massage. That would just make you feel even more bogged down. To get unstuck, you need the opposite: lightness, sharpness, and stimulation. Waking up early, eating spicy food, using a dry brush instead of oil, it's all about invigorating the system and getting things moving again.
I know this can feel like a lot to take in, but here's the good news. You can basically distill this entire ancient system down into 4 incredibly simple, powerful rules that you can start using, like, today. All right, let's run through these golden rules. Number 1, and this is the master key: opposites cure. If you feel dry and anxious, you need oily and grounding. If you feel hot and inflamed, you need cool and calming. It's so intuitive. Number 2, digestion is king. That white coating on your tongue in the morning, that's a sign your digestive fire is weak. Don't throw another meal on top of it. Let it rest. Number 3, live in sync with the sun. Your digestive fire is strongest around noon, when the sun is at its peak. That's when you should eat your biggest meal. Simple as that. And finally, number 4, embrace warmth. Ice-cold drinks and foods literally put out your digestive fire. Your body has to work so hard to warm them up. Warm food is basically pre-digested, making it way easier on your system.
You know, at the end of the day, Ayurveda isn't about some rigid set of rules you have to follow blindly. It's a science that empowers you to pay attention, to become the world's leading expert on yourself. It changes health from being a battle you have to win into a conversation you get to have with your own body. The only real question is, are you listening?